Hello everybody, Gretchen's Vegan Bakery back in the house with another pumpkin recipe for you. This time for pumpkin crumb buns. For those not familiar with the crumb bun, not to be confused with crumb cake, this is one recipe that literally put my bakery on the map. One of the best sellers and a recipe that I inherited from the original owner of my bakery almost 50 years ago. The crumb bun is a yeast bun with loads of streusel topping. And today I am making them pumpkin buns with a quick, easy pumpkin butter through the center, and oh yeah, that streusel topping is what makes these babies the bomb. So to make the bun dough, you will need plant milk, flour, melted vegan butter, pumpkin, sugar, all the fall spices, salt, and yeast. First, to get the yeast mixed with the plant milk, and I do give it a pinch of sugar, and then after about 5 minutes it should get nice and frothy, and this just proves that the yeast is active and you can go ahead with the rest of the recipe. Add everything to the mixing bowl with a dough hook attachment, and yes, you can do this entire process by hand just like the good old days, but it will take a lot of elbow grease and extra time. So get it mixing on low to incorporate all the ingredients, and you may have to give it some help along the way. Then let it go on medium speed to develop the dough. And mine was looking a bit too sticky for my liking, so I added a few more tablespoons of flour. Now this is the trick with making dough. While other baking recipes are exact, doughs are more of a touchy-feely kind of thing, where you don't want the dough to be too sticky, but also not too tough either. So as you see, my dough is not quite coming together here. I want it to really slip around the bowl, but not stick to it too much. And so I did add those few tablespoons of flour, and now this is perfect. Not to mention, I'm going to turn it out and knead it by hand with some additional flour, just enough to get it to a pliable, soft dough that is just not too tight. Again, it's really a touchy-feely kind of thing, so don't get too frustrated if it doesn't come out perfect the first time. It is fairly forgivable. Transfer the dough to a lightly oiled bowl, cover it, and let it rest and rise for about an hour in a warm spot. Meanwhile, you can make the streusel topping by adding the sugars, flour, spices, and cold vegan butter to a mixing bowl, and just cream it until it's like a soft cookie dough. Turn that out onto a sheet pan and break up any large chunks, then refrigerate it until you're ready to use it later. Next, to make my mock pumpkin butter, and it's not really pumpkin butter, but after baking it really seems so. Just combine all the ingredients in a large mixing bowl and whip it smooth. By now the dough should be ready, and you're going to roll it out and then cut it in half. I'm using a greased 9 by 13 inch pan, and half of the dough goes into the bottom, and half of the dough goes into the bottom, and you're going to prick it all over with a fork. That's just to prevent too much rising of the dough. Pumpkin butter goes over top, and I've also added some lightly toasted pecans to mine, but this is completely optional, and quite honestly I barely even knew they were there because probably I was just too stingy with them, so definitely don't cheap out like I did if you are going to add the nuts. The other half of the dough goes on top of that, and then pile on that streusel. Spread it out evenly and break up any large chunks, and just don't press it down too much. You want it to kind of stay light and airy on top. Bake it in a preheated oven for about 45 minutes to an hour, and you'll know when it's done when you peek under the streusel topping to make sure that it's just not raw and doughy. Then cool it slightly before cutting. You can cut and serve these directly from the pan, but I wanted to flip the whole thing out just to show you how amazing it looks. Light, airy pumpkin bun with that pumpkin butter center. Thick streusel topping is what makes these buns so awesome. I know you guys are going to love them. If you've never tried a crumb bun before, you're going to fall in love with these. Head on over to GretchensVeganBakery.com to grab the recipe and the written instructions, and while you're there, I do have a blueberry crumb bun too. Get all the best vegan recipes here by subscribing to my channel if you're not already. And to those who are, I thank you so much for being here with me. I do appreciate you guys so much. Your support and kind comments are what really keeps me going. All right, everyone, until next time, happy vegan baking. Bye for now.